What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Duke Crew. This is Ball Hawk, Fatima Lafano of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Lions Talk Live, morning show edition. And you know what? I think we've got a pretty good one for you all today. Did a little bit of a breakdown of both the first two games of the Detroit Lions. And like any coach who's done, I guess, scouting, deep diving into other teams, that's basically what I try to do. Just tell me what the film is telling us as Lions fans over the topic you see in the thumbnail today. What's going on with Jared Goff? What's going on with this Detroit Lions offense? Yes, he is not off to the greatest start to his NFL career, and we're going to deep dive analyze this. I think there's some compelling evidence we've uncovered as to some of the reasons why the Detroit Lions offense hasn't scored more touchdowns and why Goff's play isn't perhaps where it was a year ago. We'll get into that, but as you guys know, we're going to start the show off with 5 headlines now. And before that, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Making that push for 8,000 subs, and we're roughly 65 subs away from that, something like that. So if you're willing to do so, please hit the subscribe button. Also hit that thumbs up, the like button. Try to get every video to between 200 to 300 thumbs up or likes or however you want to call it. Next, but definitely not least, if you are considering looking for something to read, maybe over this upcoming weekend, maybe for getting ready for the bye week for the Detroit Lions, you see this on the screen, go to Amazon.com or wherever you order your online books and find Kajora book. It is the first of a 9-part series. The second book releases next year. So if you are so interested in Native American or Japanese cultures, go ahead and give it a try. Let me know what your thoughts are, and we'll go from there. All right, let's go ahead and get this show rocking and rolling. Let's get over to 5 headlines now as soon as I get down to the button, and here we go. It's one of the funnest parts of the show is all the different buttons you get to hit. So, all right, 5 headlines now. Let's get into it. U.S. top and bottom Pro Football Focus grades for the Detroit Lions. Week 2, USA Today, story by Billy Rossett. So, as you guys probably figured, there are definitely some good grades here, and then there are some not so good grades. Let's start off with the offensive side of the ball, and unfortunately, there is nobody in the 80s or the 90s for the Detroit Lions. Number 1 was Kevin Zettler with a 78.8. He was the best offensive graded player for the Detroit Lions, and I thought he did perform fairly well. Amon-Ra St. Brown was next with a 76.3. Taylor Deckard came in at 75.3. And then it starts dropping off. Penei Sewell, 69.6. It was not his best game by far. If you go back and watch the tape, or if you just picked it up with your eyes watching it live, he did seem to be affected a little bit. I'm sure we're all probably going to guess it was because of that ankle, maybe a lack of mobility, things of that sort, but it does show up on film, and obviously it showed up with the grades. This one surprised me a little bit. David Montgomery also was at a 69.4. Watching the game film, I didn't think he did bad. I was a little surprised he didn't get more runs. Obviously, being held to just 11 runs was a compelling argument. What was going on with him? So was there something physically wrong with him? Was this a coaching decision? That I can't answer as of yet, so we'll have to wait and see what shakes out. All right, now the bottom 5 for the offensive grades from Pro Football Focus. We talked about this yesterday, and this grade corroborates it. 42.3 for Sam Laporta. Just for whatever reasons, we all know he didn't do much in the preseason, but something must be wrong with Sam Laporta because watching him on game film and now seeing these grades, it's 42.3. You're not performing very well out there, and you can watch in the game film. He's not separating from people. He's not getting any separation at all from most of the defenders put on him. There were a couple of throws, I will say this, where I thought he was open, and without remembering the down and distance needed to get the first down, he could have been a target there. But again, not just my eyes saying that something must be wrong with Sam Laporta, but these grades we're getting to start the year from multiple different outlets are also confirming Sam Laporta is struggling right now. Jared Goff was the second next, but up from week one at a 49.0. And we'll get into that when we get into the main topic of the day. Frank Ragnow also struggled mightily this game. 54.4. That is the third lowest in his career, grade-wise, by the way. Had to do a little bit of Scooby-Dooing and research to come up with that. But what are we seeing right off the bat? The offensive line, half of the offensive line struggled heavily for the Detroit Lions in this game. Some of it did well, the other half not so well. Tight end Brock Wright was number 4, lowest at 56.1, and the Khalif Raymond, 58.6. Now, defensive grades, the top 5, probably not a big surprise here. Highest rated Lion for the day overall, Aiden Hutchinson, 90.1. And that is, by the way, the second highest for his career. Hard to believe he's actually had one game that was graded higher than that, but he was on fire. Brian Branch, we talked about this during the live cast of the game. I thought he was playing incredibly well, and yes, the film corroborates that. He was all over the place in position and deterring some throws. So what does that mean? Quarterback looks at him, sees that area. That was, clearly the number one read on that play. Quarterback takes eyes off it because they don't want to throw it to Brian Branch because of he's moving into that window that the quarterback was going to throw into. Brian Branch came in at 86.1. Kirby Joseph, 73.9. So another good outing for Kirby Joseph. Still would like to see that score get up a little bit higher. Aleem McNeil, 67.8. DJ Reader, 67.7. So you see right there, Detroit Lions defensive line showed up pretty heavily. There's 3 of their top players on the day, basically, were all on the defensive line. Bottom 5 grades, Kyle Pico, he did not do well. He had a great preseason, but in this game, you watch the film, he's not good by any stretch of imagination. 29.1. And yes, that a couple of the key plays when the Bucs go ahead and take the go-ahead score, he's involved with it. In fact, in the play where Baker Mayfield scrambles out, he's got the single block assignment to control Mayfield on that play, and he gets destroyed. And so everybody else has to do a scramble drill. When you're going to go zero coverage across the board and you've got a mobile quarterback and you're only going to send 4 guys after the quarterback, the nose or the DTI in that spot has got to control that middle guy, lineman. Now, the fact that he's only got one guy blocking him and he gets destroyed just breaks down the entire play. And then, yes, as we all know, Baker Mayfield kind of walks into the end zone. Terrion Arnold was the next lowest grade at 33.2. Malcolm Rodriguez, 50.9. Carlton Davis, 54.6. And Captain Jack Campbell, 56.6. We'll go out and off that one, but I figured I'd get those over to you guys. Next on the top 5, what do you got? Tim Patrick's, quote, good showing in Detroit Lions debut could lead to an expanded role. Detroit Free Press Dave Burkett, and I agree. While I'm going to also preface this, I thought his first day for the Detroit Lions in a game went pretty well. Let's also be real honest, and there's no way for me to 100% corroborate what I'm about to say, but I also say he doesn't know the playbook fully. The pass, the interception in the fourth quarter that goes over the middle of the field, and we're all staring at it going, man, who is he even throwing to? If you go back and watch the play, there is Tim Patrick, I think he's got an option route there. At least that's his belief. He could run a streak or he could do a deep in post, and I think Goff is throwing the deep in post. Clearly, they're not on the same page as Tim Patrick while he's running, hasn't even turned around to locate the ball or see the route. So, yeah, he's still figuring things out, and unfortunately, it cost the Lions probably, at least on that interception. Where Lions Aiden Hutchinson ranks in pass rushers categories after 2 games, the Sporting News, Mike Moranis. So let me pull this up here, and I'll walk you guys through it. I think I still got it on the screen. Maybe I took it off, so apologies. But he is, as you would expect, one of the top guys in the NFL in every statistical category when it comes to rushing the quarterback. Hits, sacks, pressures. He's, I think, tied for number 3 in forced fumbles and stuff like that. But Aiden Hutchinson obviously off to a monster start to his third season in the league. And, yeah, he's looking like a home run for the team. Detroit Lions injury updates for Amon-Ra St. Brown, Alex Anzalone, and Terrion Arnold. So I did a video on this yesterday, but if you guys didn't see it, Amon-Ra St. Brown sounds like he's mostly just got cramps in his leg, a little bit of a contusion. He should be fine. Alex Anzalone, Dan Campbell did address it yesterday, said yes, he did go through concussion protocols. He said he felt much, much better today, so that's a good sign. Whether or not he's going to be able to play this weekend, we're going to have to wait and see. Terrion Arnold, we all noticed it in the game. We talked about it in the live cast. The left hand really wrapped up. He did something to the fingers, but MCDC himself said he should be fine, not a problem at all. All right, Lions snap count observations. DJ Reader, Tim Patrick get full loads in debuts. SB Nation story by Jeremy Risman. So if you want to go through it, you can check it out as far as the snap counts. Here's what I would say about it. I was a little surprised that, like probably everybody watching this, David Montgomery did not get more run out there. I thought especially with how the Bucs were playing us, hey, why not use your hammer back against them? But we didn't do it for whatever reason. And yes, some of it you could say the offensive line wasn't doing great. Tight ends, Sam Laporta did get a season high at 88% of the snaps, so 75 snaps. Despite receiving only 3 targets in the passing game, Laporta saw an increase in playing time in both terms, overall snaps and percentage of snaps. Otherwise, it's pretty normal outing for him and the tight end group. Now, again, going back to, we all at least very much suspect Sam Laporta had some sort of major injury or something to him that limited him in the preseason. He seems to be getting a little bit stronger, but I've talked about it already this show. I talked about it yesterday, so I won't beat it up too much. He is struggling to get separation. My guess is some of that's conditioning. Some of that is whatever the injury was is still nagging at him. Opposite of that, the only other stuff I could really say from the snap count was that Aiden Hutchinson, I get he had a monster game, but keeping him like they did much of last year, around the 90% of total snaps, I think you're going to wear him down. So they're going to have to do something to spell him. I would like to see him get down into the 70s as far as snap counts to keep him fresher throughout the year. But I also say this upcoming weekend, in my opinion, you can't do it because you've got to get a win in the worst way possible. All right, we're going to move on from that now to the main topic of the day, and I think we're going to have a little fun with this one. So hopefully you guys do too. Let's do it now, and main topic of the day time. So coaches love film. Coaches love to break it down and see what they missed, see what the other team likes to do, tendencies. Maybe we could just say that. Yesterday, I was having a chat in the comments section with one of Lions Talk Live normals, Chad, and we had a real good talk about basically stuff that now NFL norms versus, say, 20, 30 years ago, and what I would do differently as a coach versus what the current normal is in the NFL. I wanted to say this, you guys have heard me say it, in the preseason, I'm still playing guys. I get it's not the norm anymore in the NFL, but I want you to think about Sunday's game. Sunday's game, in my opinion, can come down to 2 to 4, maybe you could say 5 different plays. That's the difference between being 2-0 and 1-1. You could say the same thing with week 1 against the Rams too, to be fair, or maybe you could just say most games. Reason why me as a coach, why I would play guys, all right, the first preseason game, maybe I'm giving the starters on both sides of the ball the first quarter. Second game, the first half, or at least pretty close to it. And then the third preseason game, none at all. Because I believe that will give you an advantage early in the season when other guys are trying to shake off the rust, get the timing down or whatever. You should be a little bit further ahead. So use this weekend's game against Tampa Bay. To me, we'd have basically a full game advantage over you in regards to the reps and such. Does that mean you get maybe 2 to 3 to 4 more plays that you wouldn't have had success with prior? That's my logic with it. So what I did yesterday, I went back and just like I would with any team I coach or scout or whatever, I went in and just started analyzing Jared Goff and focusing on a couple other factors. Here's what I came up with Jared Goff. Interceptions, as we all know, he's thrown 3. One of Goff's interceptions against the Rams, he sees the route correctly. It's a pass, as we all know, to St. Brown, but he's a little hesitant with it. Instead of that ball coming out crisp, it's a little late, maybe a quarter of a second late, and because of it, allows the DB a chance to make a break on the pass. The second pick, we all get it. It's the start of the Tampa Bay game. It's a throw to J-Mo, and yes, I'm not going to blame Jared Goff. The more I watched it, reviewed it, it's clearly a PI or hold, whatever you want to call it, contact beyond 5 yards. It should have been called. It should not have been a pass interference. Not an interception. Like I already talked about in this show, the third interception he threw is, I believe, a pass where it was an option route for the receiver and the quarterback. I'm going to throw here based on where the safeties are. Tim Patrick, I get it's his first game with the Lions, doesn't know the playbook probably as well as he will in a few more weeks, especially after the bye week. But just they have a miscommunication there. Those are what they are. They're going to happen, especially early in the season. Time to pass, and this is where I really started noticing things in both games. I want to look for normalities, consistencies, things that we can say, all right, here's a clear issue we need you to address. Now, Goff's performance, time to pass versus the Bucs, on average, when it's 2.5 or less, he completes only 53% of his passes. So, again, he's getting the ball, and there's pressure getting onto him in 2.5 seconds or less. That's pretty immediate. It's, his performance goes down exponentially. Now, when he's got 2.5 or more seconds, he's completing nearly 67% of his passes. And I get one of the things on Goff people always love to say is, man, if you can get pressure on him, he changes. I would say, man, that's every NFL quarterback other than maybe a rare few. But remember the grades we gave out earlier from PFF. When some of this offensive line isn't performing well, it affects A, the running game, and B, the quarterback play. The offensive line right now, I'm not excusing anything Jared Goff has or has not done. I'm just trying to look at it from a neutral perspective and say, is there an issue going on here that is affecting the running game and Jared Goff's performance? Right now, I would say this. Yes, there is. Part of the offensive line is not performing very well, and it is affecting the offense. All right. Offensive play calls with second and long. Goff completes 59.4% of his passes. Oh, excuse me, let me rephrase that. That's offensive play calls with second and long. That is 59.4% of the plays Sunday. So as we all know, there are a lot of plays on first down where we ran for a loss, threw for a loss or whatever, and this does affect the play calling because offensive play designs. This is a huge one for me. I've talked about this a ton in the offseason and then the start of this season. Said everybody was going to play a zone, 2 high safeties, 3 backers, or 3 people over the middle of the field. I guess they're not all backers. Some could be safeties or whatever. But 3 guys basically trying to funnel the offense into a compressed space. Now, why do I bring this up? Offensive play design with using X routes or anything on the sidelines to expand that zone and coverage, make them have to guard the whole field. We only do it in both games, Rams and Bucs, 32.9% of the time. So basically 70% of the time, the defense has a massive advantage. They can say, hey, we can just go inside the hashtags, the hash marks, and compress the field. That makes it incredibly difficult for a running back and or receiver. Why the running back? Because if you're playing zone, those 3 guys over the middle of the field, the second layer, can all look immediately into the backfield. Now, yes, play action can trip them up, but they're able to go downhill in a hurry and fill up those immediate run lanes that we mostly use in the middle of the offensive line, which isn't performing well. Now, why is it also important in the passing game? Because, again, you can have 7 guys compressed into a very limited window, and there's not much results to take them out of that area to expand it. The only thing I really saw in both games' films was that, if we're going to throw out there, it was going to be a quick outs, which a lot of times was Jameson Williams double covered, or something out of the running backs or tight ends into the flats for minimum gains. All right, offensive play designs using shallow and mid crossers. So anybody who's coached football would say against zone defenses, and I'm saying any level. I'm Pop Warner, high school, college, professional, etc. You're going to make the defense put that second layer in a bad spot by making them have to guard right basically at the offensive line and then say 5, 6, 8 yards deep. This also allows something deeper down the sidelines. But we only do this 38.6% of the time. And yes, there were a couple missed by Goff. So those are some of the notes I came up with in a hurry watching both games. I'm going to be interested to see what you guys have to say. Goff is not off to a good start by any means. I'm trying to just look at it from a coaching or a neutral observer. What can we do to make him better? Is there more to it than his performance, or is there stuff that are affecting performance? Right now, after doing a review of both games, here's what I'm going to say. Jared Goff is playing mid-level quarterback play right now. This is being further exacerbated by a lack of real usage of the field, I guess, from the offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson has gone away from being very creative, watching a lot of these plays, to being very vanilla, in my opinion, at least. And this is also now a third layer of this. The offensive line is not performing at a high level. Graham Glasgow, while he was not rated incredibly low nor high, I talked about it during the live cast, he's not helping out the run game nor the passing game. He's very neutral right now. Frank Ragnow did not play well this weekend. I get it. For whatever reason, it didn't happen. Then Penei Sewell, I'm going to give him a pass because I get he was probably playing pretty dinged up and injured. So let's see what you guys have to say about all this. There's a lot more stats I could throw out to you guys, but we don't have a 2-hour show. We got a 1-hour show, and we got Ant-Man here in 10 minutes, so I want to get to you guys. All right, so let's go over to the Duke Crew. I'll rifle through as many of these as possible before Anthony gets on the air. And man, I see that there's quite a bit in the comment section. JDC, morning all, morning JDC. Michael Green, salutations, and Coach and Duke Crew. Superdome or Superdome, Super Bowl, One Pride. Woo, woo. Good morning, Michael. Jason, it's a beautiful day to be alive. Rise and shine. Duke Crew, Superdome or bust. I concur. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew. I Goff, we trust. All right, you Goff, you trust. I see Super Bowl. Woo! Moonscar, what's up? Jason, Coach Dan is low-key creeping on my 8K subscribers, 10K by the playoffs, question mark. Spread the word. Yeah, if you guys can help out with that in any way, shape, or form, I'd be thankful. Pop-up best of mornings to y'all. Same to you. Moonscar, I'm guessing Goff doesn't leave anything in the referee's hands this game and the rest of the season. Dominate the run and complete with the pass. I'll deal with that. Yep. Quentin Green, salutations, y'all. Like 70% of the NFL is now y'all, like 70% of the NFL is now 1-1. We good? Yes, correct. Yeah, there's only a couple of teams still 2-0. The vast majority, like you just pointed out, are all 1-1 or 0-2, I guess you'd say. Hatman, good morning, Dan and the Duke Crew Quartet. And same to you, Hatman. Hopefully having a great one. JK, Vegas wanted the 1-1 records, by the way. Good morning. So does the NFL. The longer every team is in the playoff hunt, it's better for the ratings, better for the teams, better for the NFL as a whole. I mean, they want everybody to be basically 500 if possible. Hootscar 10 road teams won last week. That's unreal. Yes, it was, man. Huge week for the road dog. Let's see. Big Eddie Green's sanitation. To me, it looks like most of the league is struggling on offense. Any thoughts why? Yes. Defensive coordinators this year are playing way more too high safety, and sort of like the Lions are seeing a lot of zone coverage or a lot of underneath coverage with man principles. So they're trying to force teams to dink and dunk, be patient, and sort of like we could use this with Tampa Bay this weekend. The Lions, hey, they move the ball between the 20s, then they struggled where? In the red zone, and you're seeing a lot of teams with that. Don Kong, it's effing Super Bowl or bust. Goff cannot be Goffle. It just can't happen. Yes, they've got to fix some things. It's not just Goff, in my opinion. Goff is a big contributor to it, without question. I'm not absolving him. Ben Johnson's got to do some better stuff. The offensive line's got to do some better stuff. Tim Patrick or any of the new receivers to the team who didn't have the preseason here are going to need some time to get on the same page. And, we'll do it. Mike the Marine Gunny, howdy, Dan and Duke Crew. Love your work and research. Woo! Hey, hopefully you guys enjoyed it today. JDC Magic 8 Ball says Lions Super Bowl, question mark. Heck yeah, 100%. Very few teams go undefeated and then undefeated in the playoffs. So I'll take it. Voltron, a win this weekend would be huge for us. I agree with that. JK seems to be a pattern in there, Big Eddie. Okay, yes, it does across the league. Hatman, as I sit here and reflect, I think most of the blame is on Ben. Look at how he called many games last year, very similar. We should have dominated the Falcons last year, but beat them 20-6, I believe. Yeah, he's got to make some adjustments. I've talked about it before. Him and Aaron Glenn don't have the most experience. Same with the DC. Aaron Glenn, though, I think has improved this defense quite a bit. Hopefully they can do that again this weekend. Moonscar Big Eddie, I'd equate it to two things. Knocking off the rust for vets who didn't play in preseason. A lot of rookie quarterbacks starting. And Bryce Young, who is a worse quarterback than Jamarcus Russell. Yeah, I saw he got benched for this upcoming week. And Jamarcus Russell had a substance abuse problem. Could be a lot of truth. All right, Bo, despite constant rule changes, defense manages to catch up. It's been true since I started watching football. Things change. Yeah. Somebody comes up with something that everybody struggles with, everybody mirrors it, mimics it, and eventually somebody learns how to pick it apart, and then everybody will adjust to it again. Dave, I think the Lions are in for it with Goff. I didn't want them signing him. I wanted one more year with him and then making him move for another quarterback. Goff is just very limited. He's got his strengths. He's got his weaknesses. There's good Goff. There's bad Goff. The Lions, for the next 4 years, are going to have to find out how to make the best marriage of this possible. So, A lot of that's going to rely on Ben Johnson or whoever the offensive coordinator is in the future. JDC, Alliance got whacked upside the head with a wake-up call. Hopefully they pay heed to it. Yes, heed to it. Hopefully they do just that and wake up a little bit, maybe wake up the offense. JK, preseason aftermath for sure. I agree with that. Yeah, this, again, not to be the dead horse, but that's why I play guys some in the preseason. Moonscar, let's give it a few more weeks and see what kind of song we are singing then. I agree with that. Don't overreact to one loss. Jason, shout out to the Tigers sneaking in through the wild card back door, perhaps. I think they're getting close. I haven't checked out it yesterday, but I want to say they were, 2.5 games out? Brent, good morning. Dan and Duke Crew. I hope we pound the rock more next game. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think if you're gonna have a future in this offense, you're going to have to run the ball. Otherwise, Jared Goff, you're not playing to his strengths by any means. So it's about one loss, and half the fans want to burn the house down. Shake my head. Yeah, I get that. There's definitely some overreaction Sunday night and Monday. Moonscar, Jason Mary, how many teams make the wild card? That's that I don't know. Bo, Moonscar, as long as we can sing in perfect harmony. All right, there we go. JDC, injury during preseason or rust at the beginning of the season for some. Pick one. Yes, correct. France, good evening all. So is Goff just off, or is there more to it? Question mark. I don't know football well enough to accurately answer this. We'll see what you guys have to say. You guys have heard my thoughts. John King, that game is what I was afraid of with Goff. Extension, he is good, but not great. Everything has to be right for him to be successful. Didn't like a lot of the play calling Sunday either. Yeah, I thought the play calling, like I alluded to, put Jared Goff in the offense, to be fair, a lot of times in bad situation by consistently making it second and long, etc. And hey, against a real good defense, an aggressive defense, a fast defense, that's a problem. See, Stephanie, good morning, boys! Exclamation point. Running late today as I have to take the kids to school myself today. Mostly listening in, but Goff is still the guy to me until the season is over. Yeah, I don't think they're going to make a change this year unless there was something egregious, but you're going to have to learn to fix it, and not just Goff, but the offense as a whole. Hey, man, I still don't see this as a big loss. On a positive note, Dan, I did say Goff would get 300 yards, just didn't get the 2 touchdowns I predicted. Why did you make me change my thumbnail, Dan? Hey, we're going to have to get that old one back, and sooner versus later, right? Let's see. Robert, greetings and salutations back at you. Jesse, greetings and salutations, y'all. Ben Johnson and Jared Goff need to get the offense figured out. Can't nobody blame AG and the defense for last week's loss. No, no defense is ever perfect. I thought the defense had 2 bad plays that really cost them some points. But other than that, the defense was pretty lights out. Lions, King, what do you got? Most fans wanted Goff. Now we are hamstrung for half a decade. Yes, for the next 4 years, he will be here. Bo, we are tied with the Eagles. This is true. We're tied with a lot of teams, 49ers, etc. So, yes, we are. Tori, good morning. Duke Crew, back at you. JDC, the nice thing with sports, there's always a next game. There is. And good point on that, JDC. Moonscar, Bo Booth, I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'll go with that. Joseph C., good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. I'm ready for a feel-better game, Coach. Me too, man. I want to get over this worrisome feeling that we are maybe not as good as we thought we were or was. Yes, I think the longer the season goes on, it's just my thoughts, this team is going to get better and better just because of a lot of the youth on it. But you're going to have some growing pains for sure. Bo, it's the real thing in the back of your mind, 100%. Trey, what's good all? Question mark. It was a tough loss, but 1-1 against 2 playoff teams from last year. We've got a lot of things to improve upon. I trust in Holmes and Campbell. At the end of the day, yeah, we all say we trust in Brad Holmes, MCDC or bust or whatever we say, then you have to believe these guys are going to figure things out. It's 1 loss. It's not 50 losses, so I'm with you there. Lions King, name one team where Goff hit J-Mo in stride for a touchdown, for a TD untouched. I'll wait. I guess off the top of my head, I can't really think of one. Maybe one against the Rams. I don't know. Maybe he got touched in the end zone, but again, it would have been in the end zone. JDC, Moonscar Blade, you might want to rethink that. I sing like the Lions played. Hey, well, we'll see what we can work on. AJ, what do you got? Good morning. Good morning to you too. Hetman, Ed, Stephanie, I agree. People who are calling to get rid of Goff need to find a new team because you will never be happy in life. The man did something not even Stafford could or anyone else did since 57. This is true. He won multiple playoff games in the same year. But they definitely got to work on some things this year. So I get you there. ZD, what do you reason for loss? One, Ben Johnson, new playbook. Dan Campbell kicked the field goals. Yes, I agree with that, especially before halftime. Goff had a bad game. Yes. So one other thing with Jared Goff, in his 6 worst performances since he's been traded out of LA to Detroit, 2 of those 6 are the start of this year, the Rams, and then obviously the Tampa Bay game. So not a great start to the season. Joe C., I think if we go and beat the Cardinals, that will relieve me a whole lot. The Cardinals is a great team from what I see. Beating the Rams down like they did, wouldn't it be good to get the 2 L's in a row? No, and I don't think it's been a long time since the Lions have had 2 losses in a row. So I'm hoping for and expecting a bit of a bounce back. A hard, sorry to see for the Rams that Cooper Kupp is going to miss a whole lot of time. Bo, we'll give you an auto tune, JDC. There you go, JDC. Smile, thumbs up. Hookadoo. Good morning, Coach, and the one and only Duke crew. Woo! And good morning to you too, sir. Hatman, I would rather have the struggles early in the season and continue to build and get stronger as the season goes. Me too, man. I agree with that. Lions King, Goff runs like his shoes are wooden, like Dutch shoes. Dude is awkward. Yes, he's not a sprinter by any stretch of the imagination. Hookadoo, auto-tune killed good music. There you go. Jason, Moonscar Blade, 3 teams make the wild card. I live in Minnesota, so it's extra special to see the Tigers making the run. All right, fair enough. That's good to know about Major League Baseball. All right, guys, you all know our special guest. He is the man from the other side of the pond, the Brit with grit. Let's go ahead and bring on Anthony. Anthony, how you doing this morning?
Hey, I'm doing good, thanks. Dan, how are you? How's the Dew crew? Hope everyone is all good on this Tuesday.
Probably like most of the Lions fandom nation, hey, still mourning the loss of the game to Tampa Bay. So let me ask you, since we haven't really had an opportunity to talk since Sunday, what are your overall thoughts about that game?
I was very frustrated. I can take losing games in the NFL. Like everyone loses games. We've seen a lot of big teams lose games this weekend, but the ones that hurt the most are the ones that you should be winning. Like we should not have lost that game, and those ones really, really sting because it's tough at the top. And when you're going for 1 seeds, when you're going for the playoffs, like games make a difference. And I can stomach losing ones where we're just the worst team, but this one was. Yeah, we threw it away. We just weren't able to get going properly, and it was difficult. Yeah, still not processed it very well.
So you say we throw it away, and I get it. There's a game we totally could have won. If you had to analyze what's going on with the offense right now, Jared Goff, what would you say are some of the things you feel the team, Ben Johnson or whoever, needs to address moving forward?
I mean, it's the play calling in the red zone. It's just not been very good. I think overall it's been quite predictable as well. We just seem to play right into the Bucs' hands the other day. There was a lot of running between the tackles, and Vita Vea was just having his way with our interior. Like he one man stopped this thing from ever really getting going. Then there was the multitude of screen passes, of handoffs way behind the line of scrimmage. You just basically inviting the wolf into the house to come and make plays. And the amount of times we had like 3-yard losses, 4-yard losses, they put you behind the chains. We were only able to get 5 or 6 back on second down, leaves you in 3rd and 8. And then we're throwing in front of the chains and they're just rallying to the ball and stopping us. It just got so frustrating because it felt like Patricia's era. You could call the plays before they happened, and it just felt way too obvious what was going to happen, and we just didn't seem to adapt to that. And especially when it came into the red zone, we just started doing stupid things, playing screens in not much space. It's very hard to develop them. We went away from what we did well. The most egregious one was early after that JMO bomb. We're down at the 10-yard line. Monty gets 7 tough yards. You've got a 3rd down and a 4th down to punch in, and then we do that stupid fadeaway to Jameson Williams, and then we kick a field goal. Just run it over them. The reason why we've been so good at home is because we're aggressive and we keep coming at you and at you and at you and we break you. And it just felt like that edge went from them and they need to get it back.
Anytime you lose a game, I've always found as a Lions fan, everybody wants the backup quarterback in. It doesn't matter if that backup quarterback's good or not. What do you think? Is it an overreaction by some fans to say, hey, it's time to move on from Goff and move to Hendon Hooker?
Oh God, yeah, it is. It wasn't the best game in the world, but let's not forget, one of those two picks should never have happened because of an egregious refereeing call. It was a perfect throw to JMO, and he got body checked. Like, I don't know how that's not called in this day and age, especially when they're throwing flags when Terrian so much as breathes on an opposition wide receiver. They're giving DPI up. So that didn't help having the interception so early, but him having to throw it so many times as well didn't help either. And like I said, the play calls were they were bad. I mean, like a lot of those throws, again, the screens for loss that Goff got nothing to do with, the throws before the chains, which Goff can't really do much else with,
Right.
bar moving it around. It was just, I'm not worried about him. Like, he's the embodiment of this team. Every time they hit a wall, they find a way to get over it. And, we should know by now not to write him off so quickly. It's just, we've come up against two playoff teams, and we've come up against two very good defenses, and we've struggled. But certainly we shouldn't be talking about Goff. I mean, what's Hooker going to do differently? Hooker's not going to do anything differently. That pass rush would have absolutely annihilated him the other day, the way he holds on to the ball. He'd have fumbled it a whole bunch of times. So, no, you don't give up on him now at all. It's just fickle. Like, one game doesn't make a season. Goff's had bad games before. Goff will continue to have bad games. A lot of quarterbacks have had bad games. A lot of good quarterbacks have had bad games so far this year. You don't see people turning on them so quickly. It's, the whole stuff with Goff is just going back to so many people were so convinced he was going to be a bust. They wrote a lot of checks, which have been made to look very stupid by, and there's a deep-held resentment towards him for proving people wrong, and people even now are still wanting him to fail. So, no, he shouldn't be changed at all.
Yeah, I agree there, just because I get it's probably this way with every NFL team. If the starting quarterback's not doing well, the most popular guy on the team is the backup quarterback because the belief that person's going to do exponentially better. But if we all believe in Brad Holmes, we all believe in MCDC and then all the coaches, then they're sticking the starter out there for a reason because they see stuff in practice. But who knows? So let me ask you this. What do you think the Lions have to do to try to correct some of the offensive woes they've seen to start the year?
I mean, they've got to start executing better. Like, a lot of the plays, they look a bit clunky, especially in the red zone. We're not executing very well. But I just think Ben needs to open his arsenal up a little bit. It's, again, we've got so many great players here. And when we did have Tampa on their back heels, during this game, like when we got the Monty touchdown in the second half, you had a big throw to Amon-Ra to start it off. You had the end around to J-Mo. You started mixing your plays up. You started running outside the tackles with Gibbs. We looked a lot better running outside the tackles. We didn't do it anywhere near enough. But you've got a Lamborghini in this Lions offense, and it kind of feels like he's driving it around at 30 miles an hour and not allowing them to take the pedal, not allowing them to put the foot down. You just got to get as many of your playmakers into the game as possible and just mix it up. Again, it was just too boring. It was too vague. It smacked of he had his way he wanted to do it, and nothing that he saw or nothing that anyone did would stop him from doing it. And that's the difference between a great play caller and a good play caller. A great play caller will know when his plan A is not working and he will adapt and shift it. And at the minute, he's just been a good play caller. He's got a really good plan, but when people stop it, he's very, he's very reticent to move away from it. He doesn't want to. So, it comes down to coaching here. I purely and simply coaching for me. I think the players were good. J-Mo was good again. Amon-Ra had a 100-yard game. The guys can only do what they can do. It's all down to them. They've got to start unleashing this offense a bit more. It still feels a bit like preseason where they don't want to give everything away. And You're in the regular season now. Just throw the whole playbook out there. We're good. We can beat you in any number of ways. But opening the run game up with the pass is something we've never been good at. We established a run first and do it the other way around. It was just completely wrong how we went about it. And the Bucs didn't have to do anything. Bucs didn't have to adjust. Bucs didn't have to do anything to nullify us in this, which is the biggest crime.
So let me ask you, what's going on with Sam Laporta?
Sophomore slump. I think Sam was never going to have as good a season as his first one. I think the expectations are raised. I think when you come in as a rookie, you're under a bit of pressure, but you kind of get a free hit, right? Because no one knows what you're about. I think with last year, having all the targets we did and running the ball as well as we did, it allowed Sam a bit more free space. Teams weren't really paying attention to him so much, and that goes to your advantage in your rookie year. But there's a reason the sophomore slump is a thing, because now everyone's got a full season of tape on you. They know what you're about, and they're able to game plan you better. And more importantly, like he's just had one terrifically good year, and he spent all off season hearing about it, getting hyped up, everything. To come back and start from scratch and to put together another one of those campaigns, it's difficult to get going. I think, when you have your one good game, you slowly start to get going. He's just not quite caught up yet. The blocking's not been very good. Obviously, he's not had too many passes thrown his way. I mean, I'm not fussed about that because J-Mo's getting a lot of the touches and he's doing well, but it's just a slow start to your second year. Tons of rookies have them. Kirby was having the same problem this time last year after a really good year. They'll bounce back. They'll find their way. So, again, not too unduly concerned about him. It's just, we've got to remember he's still very, very raw in the NFL. He's only had 1 year here. So, peaks and troughs for rookies.
So let's talk about the defense for a minute. Aiden Hutchinson, monster game, obviously, against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he's already the league leader in a number of stats. Some of that's probably because of what happened Sunday. But what do you make early on? It's only 2 games. What do you make early on of this new defense for the Lions?
The line's really good. The line, the 2 consecutive. I mean, we were really good against the run last year, and the previous D-line coach doesn't get enough credit for that. But we've carried that on this year. We are still dominant against the line. We've got DJ Reader in now, and they couldn't really do a great deal amongst us on that. And obviously, the pressures are starting to come home as well. Aiden's now getting a lot more one-on-one looks, or he's getting chipped by lesser guys because the interior is such a mouthful. You saw Reader and Aleem draw so much attention that it means that you've got to go one-on-one against him. So you're seeing, the dynamic shift where the interior is taking more of the pressure. The edges are getting a bit more freed up. Levi's done really well. What is it, 8 pressures in 2 games for Levi, a couple of sacks. Like, he's done really, really well. So the defensive line has really been at the forefront of this, and the front 7 in general have looked pretty good. Safety play has been good as well. Branch looked back to his usual best, and he had one bad game. Everyone's like, oh my God, is he struggling? No, he's not. He's already back to where he was before. Branch is just that good. The only thing I have at the minute, the corners are concerning me a little bit. And this is a scheme thing. I'm sick of us playing this zone stuff we do. Terrian and Carlton at the minute combined on the season have given up 24 receptions on 31 targets. It's nearly 80%. 300 yards, no pass breakups, no interceptions, no nothing. They're still getting burnt, and there's big plays in this game where, I mean, the defense was good, right? But there were big plays in this game that let us down. They're sitting so soft in coverage, and I don't get it. Like, so many times, because the Bucs weren't able to run the ball. They were getting out of second and longs, second and double digits, third and double digits, because they were passing the ball because we were sat soft. And the most egregious one of them all was when we got the second touchdown and we went in front. And then Jalen McMillan was in like 15 yards of space when Baker hit him deep downfield just before Baker's last touchdown, which was the last score of the game. They're sitting soft again, and I'm so fed up of it. I've been watching this ever since Glenn got here, and it's just corner after corner after corner has been told to sit and not actually mark them, while all our guys seem to be covered like rashes. And I'm still not up to what's going on with it. And again, we're watching them get toasted. Something is wrong at the coaching level with it. Now, we can get away with it as long as the D-line's killing drives as long as it is, but it's just something that's concerning me. The front 7 are really good, but the secondary is taking its time to bed it, which it will have done. It's a brand new secondary. It's brand new guys. Right, but I'm still seeing old habits die hard in there, and I don't like it. Aaron needs to change the way these guys cover, because just teams are exploiting us every single week, and it cost us in this game. As good as the defense were, there were just several costly plays because of that, which cost us as well.
So I went and watched, as you probably know, I went and watched or rewatched the games from Sunday, and then obviously against the Rams. right before halftime. Lions obviously have a huge gaffe. Too many guys run on the field. Do you have any thoughts on that? Do you think that's on MCDC? Do you think MCDC is covering for somebody else? Is that just a learning opportunity for the team, unfortunately?
That's on the special teams coach. Always on the special teams coach when something like that happens. Dan's just too... Dan loves to deflect blame away, which is great, but at the same time, it makes him a target for, because he's just always on to him saying, it's my fault, it's my fault, it's my fault. And it's not. I mean, that's just a boneheaded mistake, because the only time that should happen when you're mixing up having the starting unit on and the special teams unit is on is if you're on a 4th down and the clock's rolling and you can't spike it. We were in a situation where we're on 3rd down, so you can spike the ball. Special teams should have known we could have spiked the ball. They shouldn't be going on the field knowing full well that we can spike it. So that's all on whoever's doing the special teams. If it was 4th down, fine, I get that, but it wasn't. So that's not on Dan. That's on special teams coordinator. He should know better. He should have known they were going to spike that ball and should have kept them where they were. There was no need to rush that unit onto the field.
No, I'm with you there because, I mean, we all get it. We've all talked about it, I'm sure, in the last couple of days. You get that field goal there. In the 4th quarter, those final 2 drives for Detroit, you just have to kick field goals to keep the lead. It does change things, but is what it is. So now let's move on to this upcoming weekend. Let me ask you, I guess, maybe the oversimplified question. Is this a must-win game for the Detroit Lions?
I mean, no, in the sense of it's not going to kill our season if we lose it. For me, I've always been, we need to win 3 of these first 4 games, because you look at the road schedule after the bye, it's rotten. And for want of love, we've always had the Cardinals number. Kyler Murray has always been the one dual threat quarterback. For some reason, whatever, because he's one of the best dual threat quarterbacks there is, he's never been able to beat us. And we've always seemed to have a good game plan for him. But they're an incredibly tough team. You saw the other day, they ransacked the Rams, completely and utterly ransacked them. And unfortunately for us, MHJ's woken up after 1 game of being quiet. And, they're a tough team. You can make time out of the pocket. You've got to be really disciplined in coverage. You've got to keep it tight. You can't give him easy outs or he'll get them. So it's not a must win, but I would very much like to win it because we've had 2, I would say, poorer games now. I feel like we've not played beyond 60% of our ability yet. And I know it takes time in the season to get going, but we've got an early bye. We've got a long old slog to the end of the season when this team's going to be really tested in its toughness and its depth. And I don't really want to be starting from behind, having to sort of win game after game after game after game after game at the end of the season when we're going to be hurting. So it's not a must-win game in the sense of it's going to kill our season. But for me, we do very much need to win this. I do want to get that ready because we've got the Seahawks coming up next, and we know what they're like. They're to us what we are to the Cardinals, a bogey team who we can't beat. So I want to just see that we need to be ready. We need to be closer to 100% than 60% by the time we play the Seahawks, or they will beat us again.
Okay. All right, Anthony, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. Why don't you go ahead and give yourself a shout out and tell everybody where to find you and your awesome work, your reviews, your videos, etc.
Yeah, you can find me at Roar of the Lions UK. We're a group of Detroit Lions fans from across the pond. We go live on Mondays, Thursdays. I do a college show usually on Wednesdays. I'm doing it today. So you can always come and have a chat with us if you want to get your Lions news and views from a British perspective. Then, yeah, come check us out at Roar of the Lions UK. And a quick one to end on. I said I was going to do this the other week, but I did get my Mountain Dew. I am drinking the Dew. The first time I've ever had one in my life. It's actually very nice. It's the citrus one. So I've upheld my part of the bargain there. Thanks, Dad, as always. Love you. Love the Dew crew. Love coming on. And it's been great. And hopefully we get to celebrate a win this week and get back to where we were.
That's what I'm hoping for. And I hope you enjoyed that Dew too. So, all right, everybody go check him out. Check out his channel, Anthony Roar the Lions UK. And again, Anthony, I want to thank you for coming on.
Hey, no worries. You take care. See you all soon. Bye.
See you now. All right, let's get back over to the Duke crew in the comments section. Trey, you're all crazy if you think he's going to be okay. Fair enough. Let's see. Miles Mark, coach, just a reminder, Anthony, it's the Ant-Man, Anthony Fitzpatrick. It's from Roar Lions UK. Yep, channel. I'm on it. I got it. Let's see. DM5, Trey Fitness, I hear you, but give him until midseason, and then it's hooker time. Yeah, The one thing I would say, and you guys everybody can have their own opinion. There's nobody who's right. There's nobody wrong. I'm going to just tell you guys my opinion. I talked about in the offseason, I would not, if I was the general manager, I would not have signed Goff until after this year. The problem with that is obviously the pay structure for all the quarterbacks goes up exponentially. Goff already, if he would have waited an extra couple months to sign, he probably would have had an extra $5, $6, $8 million a year. My thoughts are, I like a lot of things about Jared Goff. There are some things I have questions marks about. If I'm a general manager for the Detroit Lions, here's my real question. If I decide to move on from Goff, who do I know is going to be an upgrade over him? That's the real problem, I think. Hendon Hooker, I think, can be developed in time, but I think he's going to be a lot like Jordan Love, and then you're going to have to give him a couple seasons to kind of get acclimated to the NFL, go through some things, and then maybe you have something. And then if you go out and hit free agency, who are you going to really find that you're like, that guy's clearly an upgrade over Jared Goff? Maybe there is somebody. And I'm just throwing out a question. I'm not saying move on from Goff. I'm not saying we should have moved on from Goff. I'm not saying Goff is, the second coming of whoever at quarterback. I'm just saying if you're going to have a plan to move on from him, what is your plan to replace him and clearly get an upgrade? That's the question I've got for everybody. Silver Surfer, Lions King is Broski. What a clowner. Who are you really? I mean, even before Broski, drop that mask. That I haven't read enough of the comments to say one way or another. So I get while I'm doing the interview, I can't do both. So Kurt Steele, Trey Fitness, what's your solution? That would be my question, everybody. It's okay to say, hey, it's time to move on. But now, what is the clear, easy read to say, hey, this is what we need to do? Phil, does the league purposely interfere with our game outcomes for ratings? Isn't that WWE stuff? So here's what I'd say, Phil, and I could be right, I could be wrong, I don't know. I do think they have a vested interest in keeping the season as enjoyable for all fan bases as possible. The longer your team has an opportunity to make the playoffs, make a run, you're going to stay glued to that TV, which is good for ratings. It's good for, advertisers. It's good for people attending games. Do they flat out try to fix games? I don't believe they do that. But like we talked about during the Rams games, do they maybe say, all right, the Rams have zero offensive line right now. This is a primetime game. Everybody across the nation is going to be watching it. Let's maybe allow a little bit more leeway with some of the holding on the offensive line. Do I think that happens? Yes, I do. But also, like we talked about during the live cast, later in the game, as it became a game and close in that fourth quarter, they say, all right, now you can't, affect the game. You gotta call it, which I thought the refs did. It's similar in basketball in a lot of ways. It's similar probably in a lot of sports, a lot of ways. We do have to remember this is a business, and the business is involving keeping ratings, keeping advertisers, keeping people coming to stadiums, et cetera, et cetera. Let's see, Trey, DM5 TV. I'm not bringing Hooker in this year. In this whole year, regardless of what happens. In your opinion, no, I agree. To me, and I could be wrong. Maybe Hooker comes out and he does a Warren Moon, a Kurt Warner, or a Tom Brady type thing, and he just overtakes the league or whatever. But I think from what we saw this preseason, he's got a lot of promise. And if you're not careful, you put him in a bad situation. Now you destroy that promise. So I'm with you on that one, Trey. Let's see, Silver Surfer, Hatman, you got Broski good. There you good. Let's see, JDC, I am crazy as a Looney Tune. Here, Trey Fitness, Goff will be okie dokie. Let's give him time, for sure. Trey, Kurt Steele, I mean, you're stuck with Goff for the next 3 to 4 years, so you hope your weapons stay healthy majority of the season. Same scenario when he was in LA. Probably some correlation there. DM5 Trey Fitness. So if Goff turns into Goff all year and we miss the playoffs, no Hooker time, I mean, I guess just trust in the coaching staff. If we get to that situation where Goff just simply not performing at any level and he's lost it emotionally and mentally, then if you're the Detroit Lions, you've got to look into it. But after 2 games, I think that might be a little early. Let's see, Kurt, and again, that's just my opinion, DM5. It doesn't have to be yours. Kurt, crazy to see same old Lions fans coming out of the woodwork after one loss. It happens, my friend. Phil, league punishing Zen for not taking a head coaching job. They could. I don't think they're coming after Ben about it, but the other part is you have to make adjustments. People especially these first 2 games. Think about how much time those offensive and defensive coordinators had time to prepare for your offense. To me, the start of the season, that's where defenses usually have normally a huge advantage, because we've been able to go through all your normalities. We're going to take things away from you. And if you're not good at in-game adjustments, which I've been on record saying I think Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn struggle with that, some of that is just their lack of experience. So those are my thoughts on it. These 2 first couple of games, maybe even you can say the Cardinals game, those coaching staffs had 7 months to prepare for this offense, and it's showing. When you start getting past game 2, 3, etc., that's where it's harder, because those guys, those defensive coordinators, were focused on the first couple of teams for their particular season. Chuck E. Cheese, Tigers lost yesterday. Minnesota won, I think, getting out of reach. Sorry, okay. Phil, Ben, I knew where you're at. Let's see, Trey, DM5, I love Hooker, but he's not ready enough to hold down the fort to get us to the playoffs. I want to if that happens, but if he doesn't get us to the playoffs, more fans will blame him. This is true, and then you'll start stunning his growth and development. JK, I'll give Goff the first game after the bye week to decide what's next. There you go. Yeah, that's probably a fair assessment. DM5, Crit Steele, yes, because we've done everything of relevance in our lifetimes, it's natural to be skeptical. Yeah, I get why so many fans are skeptical. See, Trey, Crit Steele, not same old Lions, but I think very same old Lions for fans to think Goff is the reason why the Lions are in the position that they are in. If Goff was that guy, we wouldn't have him, right? Just being honest. Fair enough. Chuck E. Cheese, the loss was a team loss, not just Goff. They had many chances to win. Defense did pretty good. Got to lose sometimes, but it was still hard to put us away, though. Good team for sure, 100%. Silver Server, right, Mr. Steele, we're the good old times when we were happy for a victory. We'd be happy not to be 0-2. All right, Miles Meyer, France, Ferdinand, Lefanalo, most of us, but it didn't stop us from giving our sage opinions. Hey, nothing wrong with that, man. Everybody, have your opinions. Nothing wrong with that. Just be respectful of each other. See, Chris Steele, same old Lions. Stop playing in my face, guys. Time to move on. All right. Brent, Ditto Kurt, Chuck E. Cheese. The Lions are that good. If you disagree, you're blind. All right. Fair enough. Let's see. Bo, a little bit of harder weather exposes men. There, yes. Hard times can make you better. I learn more as a coach from losses than I do wins. See, Miles Margaret, ZD. All right. Let's see. Howie, Tigers won yesterday. 1.5 games back now. That's good. All right. That is very good. Let's see. Miles, I agree, brah. All 3 are fixable at ZD. All right. Bo, Roar. DM5, Hatman Stafford never had the team we had last year. So what's your point? He had Megatron. Outside of that, nobody else compared to players, plater for player. Trust me, I never liked Stafford either. There's some good things with the team Stafford's had, but I would say overall in his time here, yeah, he didn't have the best talent around him. Let's see, Phil, Ant-Man. How's tomorrow morning, Anthony? Phil, good afternoon in England. Trey, so if Goff comes out and lays another dud like the past 2 weeks, what are you going to say then? We'll have to wait and see. Stay tuned. Details at 11. Hookadoo, good morning, Anthony from over the pond. One Pride. Don Burr, good morning, all. Good morning, Donnie Burr. Good to see you, my friend, as always. Let's see, Brent, One Pride, Worldwide, Ant-Man. Let's see, Hookadoo, Don Burr. What up, dude? What up, Don Burr? Sir, I say, let's enjoy the next game instead of winning over and over. Darn, enjoy the season as it goes. I believe the Lions will make the playoffs, and then everything will be possible. They can win away games. This they can. Let's see, Perryman, Anthony is drinking dew. Yes, he is. He pointed that out. Don, Hookadoo, are you in panic mode? We'll wait and see. Phil, don't be ridiculous. Goff is the quarterback now and in the future. We will see what shakes out. DM5, one question. When Goff played for the Rams, did you ever say this guy is a great quarterback? Just asking. He definitely had moments. The one thing I would say, Goff then versus Goff now, is just the amount of time he's had in the league. It doesn't mean he can't be got. I don't think he's like a top 5 quarterback. I think he can be 15 to number 8, something like that. So sometimes he's going to be worse. Sometimes he's going to be better. I do think the play calling could help him out a little bit. See, Kurt Steele, DM5 TV. Yep. All right. Invite Kurt Steele for real, bro. Phil, if anything, Goff can't let the refs shake him. Yeah, and I know, Phil, we were talking about it during the Sunday game. I thought that first pick where it surely should have been PI on the Tampa Bay, I thought that rattled him emotionally, and I thought him and the offense plus the coaches really took a while to kind of calm down from it. You can't get rattled. You can't get emotional, especially in his position or as a coach. And I struggle with that sometimes, to be fair, to be honest. Hookadoo, God, not no Goff is still my dude, and the Lions are my grit. I'll go with that. Silent Service, Lions King need to stop pouting. All right. Bo, first down was too predictable, and that's the part of the problem. DM5, I've never said or thought that, but I'm anxious to see how the rest of the year goes. Yeah, let's see how it goes. Donnie Burr, let's see. Most fans had us losing 3 to 4 games. The sequence of just how it happens was never discussed, even it was 2. Yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah, probably spot on with that. Kurt Steele, Super Bowl appearance, multiple Pro Bowls, DM5 TV. So, yeah, this is true. He's been in the Super Bowl. He's been in multiple Pro Bowls. Don, I'm not panicking. No, not yet. Not at all. Jerry, people always say the first interception wasn't Goff's fault, but failed to mention that there were multiple other times that should have been interceptions, and the defense just dropped the ball. It happens, though. I mean, you could go through every quarterback. I mean, think about Stafford in week 1. The Lions could have intercepted him 4 other times. We just didn't hold on to the ball. Let's see, Kurt Steele, I hate all the cliff jumpers this morning. It happens, my friend, after a loss. Yeah, I mean, you know that, Kurt. Let's see, Moonscar, Chuck E. Cheese, Tigers won 7-6 yesterday. Minnesota lost. You must have your days mixed up. It happens, man. It happens. Let's see, Brent, agreed, Bo. I knew we were in trouble because even I know what type of play was coming a few times, and that's part of the problem. I agree with that, Brent. Phil, me neither. No panic, just concern. Yes. Trey, I know it's only 2 games, but y'all make too many excuses for a mid-level quarterback. How is Goff exempt from any blame, especially if he's getting paid $52 million a year? I get it, man. Hey, if you're going to be a pro athlete, let alone a cornerback, you're opening yourself up for people to come at you and at least analyze you. So I get it, man. All right, Hookadoo, my guess has been 14-3 since the beginning of the season, Don Burr. See, JDC, don't forget the bad penalty calls. That alone takes the win out of the guy's sails. All right, just because we're into overtime now, we're going to try to scan around for some people who haven't been on the channel yet, just so you guys know. Don, it's not easy to beat a team 3 out of 3 times in the NFL. I'll go with that. Silent Service, there are a bunch of fair weather fans in the stream. Yeah, probably all streams after this loss, but I get it, man. It does happen, my friend. All right, let's see, looking for people. Let's go, Tigers, says Donkey Kong. Looking for people. Jerry, we got Don Cleon. Don't tell that to Buffalo because they've beaten the Dolphins like 4 of 5 straight. This is probably true. Looking for people that have been on. Rocky, Coach Rock. Hopefully everyone can calm down. It's not the same old Lions. They will come around. Agreed with that. Looking for some other people that haven't been on yet. Brent laughing. All right. I think I probably had Brent, though. Let's see. Gmo, what do you got? Grand Rising Lions fans. Coach Dan, exclamation point. Super Bowl. Woo! And good morning to you, too, my friend. Let's see. I'm scanning here. I'm trying to move through. JDC, of course, Kurt Steele. Stand back, Kurt. One missed hitting me by inches. Fair enough. Bo, stand back in the middle of my room. I could feel you. All right. Fair enough. Jerry, I watched an all 22 about Hutch. It's hard to take him off. He was off the field on both TDs for the Bucs. I'm behind. Yeah, it's okay, man. And I get it. Hutch has an impact like few weapons in the NFL right now on the defensive side of the ball. I just don't want him to getting burned out before the playoffs or late in the year. I still blame not playing starters in preseason. I lean towards that too, and I've made my stance on that quite a bit there. So hopefully you guys all know it by now. Joseph C., have a great day, Coach Dan of the Duke Crew. Go Lions! Woo! One pride, baby. 100% with that. Trey, Hetman and Goff is in a position where he can audible into a run if it falls on both, not just coaching. Yeah, he can make audibles. He has the clearance to do that. Let's see, Kurt Steele, 8. Brian, my opinion is everyone talking about Goff is a clown, a joke. Praise him and mid-hate him. Then next up, fans, just saying, let's not talk about the coaching or play calling. Okay, Gun Guy, lots of same old Lions fans ready to jump off the wagon after one loss. There's truth to that, no doubt about it. Phil Broski is not banned. No, he is not banned. He can return at any time. So he was putting time out for that day. See, Jason, 6 of the next 7 games are against very good teams. Grit, yes. Hey, we're gonna have to. Iron's gonna have to sharpen iron. Silent service, just moving on from being a fan. Yeah, all right, there we go. Let's see, Don Brosi left when I did like our rivalry scuffle in the chat. Okay, there could be a lot of truth to that. Entertainment Sports says Phil, DM5, Trade Fitness, true. JK, yep, business, take your cash out of pocket business. This is also true. Smooth call, what do you got? Will the Lions roll up and fold the Vikings on October 20th, question mark, or will the offense be MIA? The anticipation is going to send me into a mind bender. Well, we'll have to wait and see what shakes. Trey, who cares about Broski? He's a Bears fan. This is also true. Brian, who calls Ben zero? I think just a typo there. At least that's my guess. Number 15 more games, not worried. There you go. Silencers. Wow, these are armchair GMs. There's always are. James, it's Goff's fault. Missing wide open Laporta, under throwing J-Mo all the time and constantly checking the ball down. All right, we'll go with that. Good guy, Stafford had a number 1 overall defense 2014, along with 1,000-yard rushing and Calvin Johnson Golden Tate. This is also true. Motor City Pauly, boy, 1 loss and y'all want to jump ship. What a bunch of Fairweather Lions fans in the here. I'll go with that. See, how come no one's blaming Tyrion and Arnold giving up 6 points and Malcolm Rodriguez giving up 6 points? I mean, come on, guy, cause easy target, but for real. Yeah, Malcolm got juked by Baker Mayfield, and yeah, Tyrion Arnold definitely had a bad play there. Chris Green, salutations. Hobbit has his confidence, but the Hutchinson Sacks should shake it. Okay. Any more? James, let's see. This has nothing to do with Same Alliance. It's about expectations. And we do have some expectations this year. Hookadoo, happy trails, do crew. Trey, what about Cleveland? All right. Trey, Hookadoo, I'm not from Ohio, nor a Browns fan, but I'm pretty sure they're in the same boat as Lions. I would agree with that right now. They're in probably the same boat. All right, Matthew, thumbs up. Love Lions football. Okay. Hey, I got that one. I'll go ahead and get out of here, get you guys over to wherever you guys going to go now. If there is breaking news later today, I'll get it to you as quick as possible. If you would be so kind, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button. You guys all know it helps out a lot. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Do something kind for somebody you don't know. See you on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, all.
Happy trails to you until we meet again.